Hey, what's up guys, my name is Charlie. Today we're going to be doing some more requested reaction videos, and this video is requested by Film and Stuff, and it's going to be Mob Enforcer review. It's really bad. Okay. Not a good start. When a video title says it's really bad, I'm getting the vibe that it's gonna be really bad. But yeah, I'm scared. I truly am because I've never heard of the game Mob Enforcer, so I don't know what to expect. Is it is it gonna be good? Obviously not. Is it gonna be bad? Most likely. Who knows? Maybe there is probably something salvageable from this game. Maybe I don't know, but let's just pray something's good about the game, okay? That's all, just to keep our sanity. A man can dream, okay? A man can dream that something's good about this game. But yeah, I've never heard of this game, never seen it, don't know what to expect, but I pray to the Lord Almighty that this is gonna be something good at least. But let's check out the video, shall we? Let's go. Oh, please, for the love of...
Mob
Please be good.
Enforcer is one of the worst things ever made by another human being.
Great
I
start.
first became aware of this game probably a few years ago now when people in my comments section started telling me to check it out. And I took one look at the screenshots and knew what kind of game it was right away. Mob Enforcer, or Chicago Enforcer, as it was later known on the Xbox, is a first-person shooter developed by Touchdown Entertainment, and never has the name of a developer been so inappropriate either. Anyway, it was originally released for Microsoft Windows back in 2004, at a time when so many good first-person shooters were coming out.
Graphics look
could only be
respectable.
described as a 365
The animation rolling down the
Running on
stairs,
the
I mean,
Jupiter
that's...
engine is
Gotta
about
give
all
it
it's got
points for
going
that.
for it, considering otherwise it's really not all that remarkable. And made by a development team that don't even have their own Wikipedia page. Huh, what a bunch of losers. I feel bad though knowing that there's probably some poor kid out there who bought this or had it given to them as a present without anyone realizing what kind of mess they were getting into. It's almost worth checking out though just for how bad it really is, but don't let that make you overlook the fact that playing this game is akin to covering your gonads in syrup and crawling through a fire ant's nest.
Damn.
Well, let's
Well,
slather those gonads up anyway.
I
and
just
get
want to
crawling,
say that good
because
graphics
playing
doesn't
it
make
is
a good
exactly
game,
what I've
so...
gone and done.
Graphics are alright, honestly, but it does make a good game.
Now, a few things worth mentioning about Mob Enforcer before we get into it. First off, this thing runs like absolute shit. I never had issues running No One Lives Forever 2, which is another game that uses the same engine, but for some reason this thing just runs like crap. There's constant stuttering with the frame rate and some weird mouse input issues that causes aiming to feel really wonky. And I've tried so many things to fix this. I've changed my mouse's DPI settings. I've tried VSync on and off. I've tried forcing 60 or 30 frames per second. I even tried a patch to update my registry that's supposed to fix mouse acceleration issues with Windows 7, but none of that stuff worked. Outside of that though, you'll see it's a game that just shows a complete
Try it
lack
on the
of
Xbox
effort.
original, maybe
Anyone who's
that will
played
be a
No
little
One
bit
Lives
more
Forever 2 is going
superior.
to remember that that game had an upgrade system, and as you completed main and side objectives,
Kind of
you
reminds you
earned
of, like,
points that you
James
can spend
Bond,
on upgrading your
the
health,
video
armor, ammo, and
games.
so forth. Now, Mob Enforcer still uses that same system, but without the option to upgrade it, and it starts you off with the lowest possible rankings for all of these. What this means is you're always struggling for ammo, but most importantly, you're always scrounging for health and armor. And as a result, you're going to die a whole heap.
Okay. Yeah, it kind of reminds me
then
like a
there's the
James
shooting.
Bond sort of...
Now, when people talk about NOF 2, no one's going to look back on it and say how amazing its shooting was. It was amazing for its writing and comedy. It was amazing for its level design and the way it gave you a bunch of fun little
coding.
gadgets and let you choose how you get through an area to complete your mission. It had so much character and personality, and the way you globe-trotted from mission to mission made it seem varied and interesting. One mission you're driving a ski mobile in Siberia.
This is
the
definitely a
next you're in the
James
streets
Bond
of India
rip-off, come
throwing
on,
bananas at
snowmobile.
police officers.
Hard
Even though the
rank
shooting
corners
mechanics
with
were a bit
silencers,
wonky and not
yeah.
all that great, it was acceptable because it didn't happen all that often. In Mob Enforcer, you're pretty much always in combat. It seems every level you're getting attacked by half a dozen guys at once. And you'll quickly see how shitty the shooting mechanics are after you've been melted for the 20th time by that group of Tommy gun wielding mobsters that often spawn out of nowhere. The whole thing reminds me of that one Chicago level from Time Splitters 2, but in that
Time
game it was
Splitters,
ironically
yes.
cheesy and cliche.
I remember Time
Here with Mob
Splitters.
Enforcer, I get the vibe they were trying to do it unironically, and that's a bad thing.
Just give 'em a bit of Chicago lightning.
Everyone's got these horrible accents that sound like they're doing their worst Italian-American impersonation. Or like some kind of watered-down, uninspired Andrew Dice Clay. Hickory dickory dock, mob enforcer can suck my c***. All in all, there's only 10 levels, but these will each leave lingering thoughts in your mind, like a public toilet leaves a lingering scent after it's been visited by a hungover construction worker.
And what am I supposed to do?
Right, so in Mob Enforcer you're playing as Jimmy the Machine Gun Demora. And it starts off with Jimmy having to prove himself to Al Capone.
Don't ever forget that.
To do this, you got to hunt down a squealer by the name of Needles Gennaro, but to find where Needles is hiding, you've got to find and rough up a guy named Mitz, a 2-bit hustler with an infinity for dames and gin joints. First thing I noticed about the game was that walking down the street with a weapon equipped makes the cops shoot at you, which I actually thought was kinda neat. Like, maybe this isn't gonna be a run-of-the-mill shooter. So I started again with my weapon holstered, and immediately I got ambushed by a few enemies. I thought I'd run back to the cop to see if he'd deal with them, but as you can see, he couldn't care less.
Wow.
Until I pulled my gun out, of course, and then he arrested
Very smart AI.
That was about the most exciting thing that happened, because overall this whole first level is pretty boring.
Even the game
You just
Fear
run around this
had
giant
smart
city block,
AI.
getting ambushed by the
That
same
game's
looking
old.
enemies over
You know,
and
like
over.
Fear
Until you
Files.
find the entrance to this speakeasy, but to get in you need the password. So I run to the other side of the goddamn level to find it, getting killed by another cop because I forgot to holster my weapon. Before getting into the speakeasy where I find that Needles is hiding in the ironically named Lucky Motel. At this point the game introduces enemies with shotguns, which is good because the shotgun is vastly better than the pistol. Oh, and I love too how it's literally the exact same weapon model from No One Lives Forever 2, like they didn't even bother to try to reskin them. Anyway, the second level is all about getting to Needles' room. You do this by navigating the same looking 3 floors of the hotel, where enemies keep spawning in like clockwork and rushing your position. If these guys aren't completely brain dead, they're able to gun you down like they're fucking John Wick or something.
Yeah, it looks very clunky. Like, it's
After a
very
bit
hard
of
to
a
maneuver.
detour where they make you go all the way back to the
Bullets
bottom
sort of just
floor,
go
I finally
through.
get into Needles' room and I get to kill him. Hey Needles, get a load of this enforcer. Hey
Alright.
Needles, why don't you come over here and lick my balls and tickle my asshole? Hey Needles, I got something for you. Eat my balls in your mouth. Now we're finally in Capone's good graces.
Well, you could have
This
shoot
time
him
he
and say,
wants me
"Here's
to
your
head to the
needles."
west side and deal with a bunch of
Here's some
bootlegging
needles or
operations run
something.
by the Chenzo brothers. This level's actually kind of fun though, and a pretty neat idea. So here you're moving around another city area, finding 5 stores that you need to destroy. And as you're looking for these stores, you're avoiding the cops and killing the same 6 or so mobsters that seem to keep respawning in constantly to attack you.
Oh,
It's a
boy.
combination
That
of guys
infinite
with
spawn
pistols,
point.
shotguns and Tommy guns, and you start to see really quickly how one-sided the combat can be. Best strategy I think is to camp in the stores and just funnel them through the one door. At this point, we've pretty much got 90% of the weapons too. Yeah, there ain't a whole lot of
wow.
guns to use in Mob Enforcer. The Tommy gun is easily one of the better weapons, only because it has a 100-round drum magazine and it does decent enough damage. After messing up the storefronts, you then have to sneak into the nearby brewery to find the Chenzo brothers, and this is where it starts to get real. Because the brewery is a goddamn slaughterhouse, where bad guys spawn in front and behind you incessantly. Expect to get blindsided a whole heap here and be ready to make liberal use of that quick save button, because you're gonna need it.
Yeah, there's so many bodies in the floor. It's insane.
Once you finally reach the end of the brewery, you take on the Chenzo brothers, who are apparently twins, because it's the same character model just used twice.
Oh,
And
come
these
on,
guys
that's
can
so
soak
cheap.
up bullets like nobody's business. At this point I unlocked a Browning automatic rifle as well, which should have been a good thing. But for some reason this thing has a 3-round burst,
So
which
many of them.
instantly removes any chance this game might have had of redeeming itself. Also, it's the most stock looking weapon model I've ever seen. After that, you've then got to blow up the brewery, which lazily is just the exact same level as before, but played backwards. And this is done by planting 5 bundles of dynamite throughout the joint as you try to make your escape, with mobsters spawning in expectedly at the same time. Unfortunately, the feds are here too, and you end up getting caught and locked in the slammer. But no 2-bit cell's gonna hold tomorrow, see? For some reason, the tunnels underneath this place are a goddamn death
break
trap.
walls down with
Someone
a
really
pipe?
needs to get down there and do some maintenance work on these pipes. Why don't you come over here and clean these pipes?
That's gotta
Once you
sting.
reach the street, you've
That's
got to
a
avoid
better
the cops
one,
and reach
I'm
a nearby
saying.
safe
This
house,
is gonna
which
sting.
simple enough,
'Cause
simply
needles
because for once
sting.
you're not getting ambushed every 2 seconds.
That's a good
Then
pun,
the next
huh?
level is probably the most annoying one in the entire game. Now, what you need to do sounds easy enough on paper. You gotta pick up a bag of cash from a nearby dumpster to bribe the chief of police, and then also get a
Really?
police uniform from a laundry to sneak into the precinct without being detected. But as you're searching the streets, you're constantly getting attacked by easily a couple of dozen bad guys at once.
Endless
and they are
waves,
relentless. Like the earlier level 2, cops are completely oblivious to enemies attacking you, and they won't do a goddamn thing.
It's like
this
real
guy.
police.
Look at him.
This is a real life simulator. Real police.
The problem too is that
They don't
enemies
do
seem to
shit.
spawn in at complete random and often completely
When
out
you
of
need
thin
them
air,
the most,
frequently
they don't
behind
do
you.
anything.
Also too,
When
it's
you
the
don't
same
need them,
city
they're
recycled
there.
from the first level. Like, how lazy. This whole level made me rethink my life choices and if playing this game was really worth it. And I'd have to be some kind of idiot to keep playing the game at this point, you know what I mean? Eventually I got through it and found the police station. And after bribing the chief, you then have to sneak into the cells to kill some guy named Lucero, who Capone is worried is going to turn informant. Again, like finishing off Needles in the first job, he just stands there and accepts his fate. He probably wants to be erased from the game, and I don't blame him. After this, you're back to wrecking storefronts for Capone. Another 5, just like last time. Though now the goal is to break into the safes in the office of each shop and steal some cash. In fact, throughout the whole game you're always finding cash, though it's never said what this is actually used for, outside of affecting the end level score.
Maybe you can
A
buy
score which is about as
ammo?
meaningful as drinking food
you
colouring,
buy
then
it,
marveling
is
at
there
the
a
fact
store?
that now your piss is a different shade of yellow.
Yeah. Anyway,
This is again the same city from the last level repeated, and just like before you are consistently being attacked by droves of enemies, literally a dozen at once. I'm not an enforcer, I'm a one-man killing machine. How does organised crime still even exist in this city with the amount of people I'm killing here?
Yeah, that is a lot.
During this level you'll also get the hunting rifle, returning again unchanged from Knopf
I know
2.
the
And this
rifle
thing
looks
seems
pretty
pretty
decent.
decent because at least it can kill
Yeah.
enemies in a single hit.
It looks
The
decent,
slow
that's what I
firing
would
rate
use.
and reload time makes it about as useful as fart-flavoured air freshener. Can I also say again how disappointed I am how they butchered the Browning automatic rifle in this game? Like Vito Corleone says in The Godfather, look at how they massacred my boy. Anyway, after clearing
how
out the
they
5
massacred
shops,
my
wiping out
boy.
another few dozen mobsters, at this point it's amazing any of them are still left, finally Capone wants to meet us in person. So we head off to his suite at the Lexington Steel Hotel. As soon as we get there though, the power is cut, bombs go off and the place is attacked by Johnny Torello and his men. First we got to restore power to the building, which is done by heading to the basement. Then we've got
Okay.
10 minutes to find and defuse a bunch of bombs around the hotel. Thankfully
Alright.
this isn't too hard though because the ticking from the bombs is so loud, you'd probably have to be deaf to not hear it when you're close by. Once we reach Capone's suite though, we find he's been tied up by Torello, and we have to whack him in another boss fight. Torello then starts throwing Molotov cocktails so quickly and efficiently you'd think it's some kind of Olympic event,
Whoa,
but he's easy enough to
he's
kill.
getting shot. How's he still throwing when you're getting shot?
Then for the final mission in the game, we've got to escort Capone out of the hotel, which is yet again another level just lazily recycled. Like heating up 2-day-old spaghetti bolognese in the microwave again because you can't be arsed making a fresh batch. Though this level did have the benefit of making me laugh at this stupid prick doing somersaults down the staircase.
What's he doing?
But finally, we finished the game. And what do we get for our hard work? Well, how about just the logo for the game on a black background?
What?
Yeah, that's all you're getting.
Really?
All up, Mob Enforcer or Chicago Enforcer, whatever I'm supposed to call it, it was pretty bad. I'd probably compare it to eating soggy cereal or having a catheter put in. It's a bare bones, lazy shooter that doesn't really add anything all that new or exciting to the genre. And it takes what's probably one of the weakest elements of the Jupiter engine, which is the shooting mechanics, and turns it into an entire game. On top of that, like I said earlier, it runs horribly. There's frame rate issues. The mouse
Yeah.
input is as wonky as a shopping
PC
cart with
ports
3
don't
wheels.
go
and to
well.
simply make the game playable on any level required more screwing around than a night spent in a cheap hotel with your mum.
Schwacked.
About the only good thing that came out of this game was that it let me try to work on my voice impressions, but aside from that, it was a complete waste of time. Leave the game, take the cannoli.
Oh boy. Yeah. Okay, that's the end of the video. That was Mob Enforcer review. Yeah, it looked bad, but you know what? I mean, the graphics were alright for the time. I mean, they look okay. I know the graphics don't make a good game, and you're right. But you gotta give some sort of validation. I mean, the graphics were alright. I mean, there were a couple of games I remember playing that the graphics were a little bit still blurry, sort of doing the experimental. But even though the graphics were blurred, they were still decent games. Yeah, that was the Mob Enforcer review. I've played a couple of bad games before. Actually, no, quite a lot. But I'm thinking of the Xbox original. Maybe this is better on the Xbox original. Mob Enforcer is probably much more smoother. I don't know. It could be worse. But as my guess, it could be better on the Xbox original, where it doesn't have most of the problems that it does on PC. Because I normally find that normally if they're porting the game to PC, it doesn't translate so well. There's a lot of bugs, glitches, frame drops and stuff like that. So it's normally the best played on sort of like the console because it normally doesn't have as much issues. Yeah, I mean, I remember a couple of bad Xbox original games. What was that Bruce Lee Quest game I remember? Dear God, that was painful. Well, I can't remember. It was that Bruce Lee Quest or something. It was just for the Xbox original. I was expecting something epic, and it was just absolutely god-awful dreadful. I was expecting awesomeness on a whole new level. I mean, Bruce Lee, for crying out loud, it's Bruce Lee. You would expect it to be good with that name on the damn game. But no, it was bland and boring, and yeah, it was something I really truly hated. But like I said, the graphics are good. I gotta find some sort of something to give credit to. The graphics are alright, but like I've said, I've seen sort of better graphics. Fear and Fear Files, stuff like that. Those got good, decent graphics. I also remember The Suffering. Now, that's a good game. The Suffering was totally awesome. And Suffering 2. Those were some good games. And the graphics were bad. Well, they weren't bad. They were very sort of weird and not the greatest, but it was at that era of time. But you know what? The game was totally amazing. Honest to God, it was totally awesome. They're great games. But like I said, good graphics doesn't make a good game, unfortunately. Sometimes it's all about the replayability. And this, I gotta give it a skip. Even though it did look a little bit like a James Bond game. I don't know, like GoldenEye or something. It was getting that sort of James Bond vibe. And a little bit of Time Splitters mixed. Yeah, I was feeling a little bit of like Time Splitters. Very interesting, very fascinating sort of concoction. Just sort of a really bad game blended into a blender. But yeah, really awesomely bad. Yeah, if you like this video, make sure to give a like, comment down below, and make sure to subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my content. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.